That was the Spanish call via Fox Deportes of the
great.
Daniel Jones trip and fall over the 15-yard line. Hit a top speed of 21.23 miles per hour on that run, the fastest of any quarterback at that point of the season. Longest run by a quarterback since Marcus Mariota went 87 yards and did not trip over any of the yard lines on the way to the end zone in 2015. They did score a touchdown 4 plays later, but one of the most memorable moments of Daniel Jones' career, even though he'd like to forget it, it brings him in, and I'm sure that was one of the factors, to put him at number 26 on the Chris Sims Top 40 Countdown. There are the next few that we're going to discuss today. They've been revealed. I think you're way ahead of me on Sims Unbuttoned because we've fallen behind. But for our purposes, and we will catch up, we're at Daniel Jones 26 and then a couple of Saints after that. But let's talk Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Because here's my question.
Yeah.
Where is he going to be next year?
Right.
Next year, he's either going to be in the top 20 or he isn't going to be the starting quarterback of the Giants.
I think that's right. You're right. This is the year. There's no excuses. He's got all the physical tools and everything you need to be successful as an NFL quarterback. It's just time to put it all together. I mean, that's really what it is. They seem now to have at least a team around him to certainly give him a fighting chance that way. Hey, it's another year in the Jason Garrett system, so hopefully that's come together and can mean better play for Daniel Jones and the Giants offense and everything like that. But when you break down Daniel Jones, there's a lot to like. There really is. I mean, controls the football, throws perfect spirals everywhere. Got a real good arm. It's not a great arm. It's not a superstar arm. But it's a good arm to where there's no limitations to anything you have to do with your offense or him making throws. You saw his ability to run. He's a real athlete. He is. I mean, he's the type of guy that can keep the ball and read options and rip off 30 and 40-yard runs. But now we got to learn how to play the game better. And, Mike, you heard me say this last year. It's really the same problems with Daniel Jones. He did not grow much in the department of what I would call pocket awareness, right? We talked about the strip fumbles, from 2 years ago. That was an issue. It's still an issue, as you could see here from the stats. And the interceptions are the same thing too. It's too much of holding in the pocket. Let me hold the pocket. Coach told me to go to 1, to 2, to 3, to 4. Okay, I'm going to stand here and keep going through the reads. And, oh, no, the pocket's collapsing. Oh, I just got to throw it here. Oh, interception. Or, oh, the pocket's collapsing and I'm still looking downfield and somebody swats the ball out of my hand. He's got to get better awareness in that. There's got to be a better backyard element to his game. That's what we got to see him really improve on, taking care of the football in that department. And I have no doubt that he could do the other stuff to be a good quarterback and make that offense good.
And, Chris, sometimes it's as simple as you can sit the guy down in a meeting room, you can take him to the film room, you can put him on the practice field, and you can hammer those things into his brain over and over and over again. But when it's time to go out, it all changes.
Right.
It all changes, and you revert back to the things you've always known. The clock in your head has not changed. And people get confused by this. Look, you are at the center of one hell of a hurricane when you're the quarterback of an NFL team. You got a lot of things that you need to remember. And when it's time to remember them, you're not going to remember them. You're just going to do what you know.
Yes.
And unfortunately for Daniel Jones, what he knows is holding on to the ball too damn long.
That's right. And that's where he's got to make an adjustment. He's too smart. He's too good of an athlete to stand there like the Statue of Liberty in the middle of these mosh pits too much. And, I talk about this a little bit on my podcast, but, hey, the NFL's changed. I really do think he's trying to do good and do what the coaches say and be that pocket machine quarterback and dice you up that way. And, hey, that's great. I do admire his toughness. He's fearless in the pocket. But it's, like the gift and the curse type thing there. It's a gift at times, but it's a curse too. And in the 2021 NFL, it's changed now. It's no longer, 1988 or 1997 where you just stand in there and you look down the field and you try to throw a ball into a tight window. You have to have pocket awareness as far as you got to look at the pass rush a little bit. You got to. There's too many crazy defenses. There's too many talented pass rushers to where you can't just totally disregard the people that are coming after you and look downfield and just think, okay, I'll be good. Rodgers, Mahomes, even Brady, if you watch games of them, they drop back to pass And, okay, they're looking downfield, and now they pat the ball, and they assess around them. They look around. Wait, is somebody there? Okay, I'm going to pat it again. Eyes downfield. Okay, let me make sure somebody around me just so I don't get strip sack or get hit as I'm throwing the ball. That's part of the game now. It's no longer like those old coaching points of like, don't look at the pass rush. No, you have to look at the pass rush now. It's part of it because the quarterback is expected to make off-schedule plays when people aren't there and things like that, and that's, to me, where he's really got to grow as a player.
No excuses for Jones this year. They picked up Kenny Golladay in free agency, drafted Kadarius Toney in round 1 after trading down, and added Kyle Rudolph at tight end. They have Evan Ingram. They have plenty
Barkley's
of other guys.
back.
Saquon Barkley is healthy.
Yeah.
This is it. This is it. Up or out for Daniel Jones this year because they're going to have options available.
That's right.
Next year.
That's right.
Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, who knows? Every year there's going to be a revolving door of veteran quarterbacks available if a team wants a quicker upgrade than to roll the dice on a draft pick. And
Agreed.
He'll be in position to have a top 10 draft pick if they stink this year because of Daniel Jones. So we'll see how that goes. Next two guys from the same team, Jameis Winston, 25, Taysom Hill, 24. Threshold question, does that ranking carry with it the implication that you think Hill should be the starter in New Orleans?
Yes, it does. It does. It does. I do believe he should be the starter. Now, I think it's really close. I know we've had this conversation, and there's a lot to like about Jameis Winston's game. There's no doubt. I mean, you and I have both talked in high praise about his good play. He can do some really special things. I mean, he's got a really good arm. He's a way better athlete than people realize. You know, he sees the field well. It's the old thing we've talked about, Mike. He just doesn't have that governor at times. So where it's just like, wait, the play's over. Throw it away. The play's over. Just go down. You got sacked. We don't have to throw a ball and try to shuffle it 15 yards in front of our face into quadruple coverage. You know, that's why I can't put him higher than that. His talent is greater than 25, certainly. But yes, there's trust issues that I want to believe that Sean Payton has coached out of him and will make him better, but I haven't seen that yet. I don't know that yet. So, yeah, there's a lot of starting caliber superstar principles about Jameis Winston's game. There's no doubt. But there's two issues that keep him where he's at right now. One is that decision-making like we talked about. It can't be the last play of the game all the time. And then, you know, two would be a little bit, he's got to control the football a little bit better. Those 30 interceptions, yeah, some were dumb decisions, but he misses too many throws too with that wind up like kind of motion he has where he swings the ball where it's a little errant at times. If he can fix those two things, he could be a starting quarterback and a superstar in this league for a long, long time.
I wonder how willing Sean Payton will be to stick with whoever he picks as his week 1 starter. Is he going to be tempted, you know, after a bad game, after a bad decision, after a bad throw, to yank Jameis Winston for Taysom Hill or vice versa? Or is he going to want to give whoever the starter is the full chance, barring injury, to take the full season and show what he can be? That's going to be a heck of a dilemma for him because he hasn't had to deal with that as a head coach because it's always been Drew Brees.
Right. Yeah, you knew you were like, oh, well, okay, Drew had a bad game or two. He's going to work out of this funk and he's going to get better. Yeah, you don't know that with this crew here. We don't. You know, and I would think that Sean, coming from, you know, understanding quarterback's not easy, him being an ex-quarterback, coming from the school of Parcells, that he's going to give whoever he names his week 1 starter at least their time to kind of get their feet planted in the ground and used to playing before he starts to go, okay, now it's been 5 weeks and it's been really underwhelming and some bad reads and some mistakes and this offense does not look like what I expected. Then I could see that. Then like, okay, 4 or 5 games of bad. Then he starts to think about that. But, you know, with Taysom Hill, I got him ranked 1 spot in front of Jameis Winston. I know, yeah. If you think about quarterback from the traditional sense, yeah, he's not as good as Jameis Winston, but it's still better than you think. And when you talk about Taysom Hill, you got to evaluate him as like a force of nature. It's about what it's a weapon at the quarterback position. It's what he does to defenses because of his skill set and the pressure he puts on you that way. Let alone, we saw him go 3-1 last year and be a really good thrower of the football and have very good control, throwing higher degree of difficulty type throws than maybe even Drew Brees was throwing in the offense last year. It was a lot more down the field. It was back shoulders. You know, he found a connection with Michael Thomas. So I think between the athlete I've seen and the preseason from 2 years ago, and then going 3-1 this year, I just look at it and go, it's gotten better and better every year. And that's where I look at Taysom Hill as, yeah, he's a quarterback, but he's also kind of a force of nature and what he brings to the field as an athlete and what he's going to do to defenses and putting pressure on them.
You know, if I didn't know better, I would have thought you almost said Jameis Winston.
I almost said Taysom Winston. I almost said Taysom Winston.
Yeah, all right. Jameis Hill, Jameis Winston. There's all sorts of permutations there. If there's a tie,
yeah,
baseball tie goes to the runner. Football, does the tie literally go to the runner and Taysom Hill?
I think it does.
Does it go to Jameis Winston?
I think it does. I mean, you tell me. Let's talk this out. Like, I mean, Taysom Hill's his pet project, toy baby that we've talked about for the last 3 years, right? And he did go 3-1 and has been there. I would think if it's a tie, that Taysom will get the benefit of the doubt. At least that would be my thought. What about you?
Yeah, but you could make Jameis the quarterback and have Taysom on the field if it's all about having the best 11 guys on the field.
That's right. That's interesting. I know. You're right. It's going to be – I just have the sense of the liking of Taysom Hill. I think you and I have both got the sense that Sean Payton's intrigued by this new age attack and offense he might be able to run with Taysom Hill. And I think when you just, again, break down his quarterback play, I understand the drop back pass game might not be to Drew Brees' level, but I think he's going to be able to watch film from last year, whatever, and goes, we were still good dropping back to throw with this guy. And he could do some things that are going to scare the hell out of defenses with his ability to launch the ball down the field and make power throws. Let's not forget the last 2 years when they wanted to make power throws, they brought Taysom Hill in the game some way to push the ball down the field instead of Drew Brees, and I think that's an element you could see in their offense more if he's the quarterback.
And one important factor we've discussed in the past, which guy that Sean Payton believes will be able to digest, process, and implement and execute 5, 7, 10 new plays that Payton shows up with on the morning of game day.
Right.
That he spotted in his final film review or looking at a reel of all touchdowns that have been scored in the month of October. Whatever the case may be, he's always looking for ideas who can incorporate those the way that Drew Brees could automatically and not miss a beat.
Good point.
And off they go. That's going to be huge. Now, it's not necessarily relevant for week 1 when they play the Packers and they have 7 months to get ready.
Right.
But it will be relevant
right
2,
after
3,
that.
4, 5, and beyond.
That's right after that. And, even like to your point there, psychos like Sean Payton, they come up with ideas on Saturday night, and you're like, damn, this is 6, 7 new plays like you're talking about. And digesting the offense, people like Sean Payton, you get into the facility on a Wednesday morning. I know this because it was like this with John Gruden. You might have 80 new plays that week. Some are like, similar plays, but it's a different personnel set and a different formation, and you got to make sure to tell, wait, this tight end who's been doing this play has been running this one route, but now he's going to be running a different route lined up somewhere else, and you're the quarterback. You got to be the one to tell him, let him know, like, hey, this is what you're doing. You got to be over here, everything like that. Here's your rules, blah, blah, blah. And that's where those offenses get tricky. Just the amount of volume that's thrown on you week after week after week, to where you're going, whoa, it's another 110 plays, another 100 plays, another 140 plays. Whoa, we got all these checks. And that's got to be part of the thought process, certainly, in deciding this for Sean Payton, I would think.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.